Hello and welcome to a special edition of The Big Fight, coming to you live from New Delhi. It's been a dramatic 49 days in power for Arvind Kejriwal, and to match that drama was his exit yesterday. And now, of course, the Delhi Assembly is placed into suspended animation. In all probability, we're heading for President's rule. So, what do we make of the events that have just gone by? What's going to be the outcome of this? Is this a step that's going to backfire on the Aam Aadmi Party, or is it going to pay rich electoral dividends? We did hear from Arvind Kejriwal talking to NDTV a little earlier in the day, also from Sheila Dikshit. So we're going to be playing a little bit of that for you. But also, we have a great panel of experts who are going to take us through all the twists and turns in the latest act of this, rather long-running drama. Well, 49 days of a lot of excitement. So, Ashutosh joining us right out here. Former colleague of ours in the world of journalism, now of course a member of the Aam Aadmi Party. So thanks a lot, Ashutosh, for being with us. Dr. Surjit Bhalla, who has really strong views on all that's been happening in many ways. Kamal Mitra Chenoy, Professor of the School of International Studies at the JNU, a strong supporter of the Aam Aadmi Party and what Mr Kejriwal has been doing. Vikas Singh, former Additional Solicitor General, whom we are going to get to take us through some of the constitutional provisions that have really been behind a lot of this. Aarti Jaira joining us as well, a senior journalist who's been following this very closely, and we are going to be joined in just a couple of minutes by Dr. Kiran Walia of the Congress Party and Pinky Anand, who's a spokesperson of the BJP, to see what those parties make of this all. But why don't I get straight off into this? Ashutosh, a lot of people are going to say right now that, look, here you had a chance to say that this is a government with a difference. We've heard the Aam Aadmi Party saying we've been starting to make a dent on corruption in Delhi. You could have shown this was a government with a difference. You could have actually delivered on many of the promises. There are many who will say that what you have now done is taken an excuse of what happened in the last couple of days, almost precipitated a crisis on the floor of the Assembly, and run away and shirked your responsibilities. That's what a lot of people would say, and actually are saying.
See, these days, this runaway word brings a smile on my face for the simple reason that people are talking about.
I'm just going to pause you for a split second to say that the union cabinet has actually now recommended, has supported that, has accepted what the Lieutenant Governor has said. So you do have suspended animation.
So you mean to say, should I react on that?
No, you don't have to. I'm just, you can carry on. I'm just
firstly, whatever the cabinet, the central cabinet has decided, I think it's completely unconstitutional. They should not be doing this because it is the Arvind Kejriwal's majority cabinet which has recommended and which is binding constitutionally on the Lieutenant Governor, because he has to follow the advice of the cabinet. So that's a different thing. Why they have done is suspended animation. Again, I'm very curious to know, because when the BJP and the AAP have very clearly said that they don't want, that they are not interested in forming the government, when the cabinet has recommended dissolution, that means what Lieutenant Governor and the central government wants to explore. When the overwhelming majority of the House is not in favor of forming the government, that means central government and the Lieutenant Governor both are giving a scope for horse trading.
Okay.
Is this the politics they want to pursue?
Ashwin, let me actually get reactions from others on this news which is just coming in. The constitutionality of all that is happening. Was the Lieutenant Governor correct at the end of the day of saying this should be in suspended animation, President's rule? What do you make of what's just happened?
Well, according to me, this is definitely the discretion of the Lieutenant Governor. This is not something which the Lieutenant Governor is bound by the advice of an outgoing Chief Minister. The Lieutenant Governor definitely can explore whether, now the mathematics in this case may work out that it may not be possible to form a government. That's a different matter. But that does not preclude the Lieutenant Governor from taking a view as to whether there can be a possibility. There could be, supposing, a half and half split in Aam Aadmi Party, for all you know. They may not be wanting most of their legislators, if they don't want to go for election, and half of them join the BJP. Congress may decide to give outside support like they gave to the Aam Aadmi Party. So all kinds of things can happen.
Constitutionally,
constitutionally
you disagree with what Ashutosh said?
No, it's not correct. Constitutionally, that
discretion works when there is no government. Discretion will not work when there is an advice by the cabinet, and this cabinet is a majority cabinet.
But majority only so long as the Congress is supporting you.
If
the Congress does not back that...
Vikram, technically and the constitutionally and the legally, because yesterday, just after the Jan Lokpal Bill, there was a money bill. and that was passed by the assembly. That means the government has a majority with him. When the government has a majority with him, the cabinet which is leading that assembly means has a majority support with him. So Lieutenant Governor is bound by that. Lieutenant Governor can use.
What about the constitution that I do? Somebody get you to respond.
I'm saying Lieutenant Governor can use his discretion when there is no advice of the cabinet. When the advice of the cabinet is available, Lieutenant Governor can't use his discretion.
Okay, because
well, the majority rule which Ashutosh is talking ended when the assembly was adjourned. What happened thereafter is not what majority the assembly did, number one. Number two, whenever there is a coalition government, this kind of discretion always is vested with the governor, because it's a coalition government. There are parties who can align later on. You've seen what has happened in Jharkhand. Congress was out of it, Congress now is in it. BJP was forming the government with the same legislators. Today BJP is out of it, Congress is. So this kind of a thing can happen. It's not something which is unknown to our setup, and where, especially in a coalition government. So what Ashutosh is trying to say, as if the majority when it passed a bill also took that decision, no. That decision was taken later on after the assembly had already been. So that decision is really a Kejriwal decision or a Aam Aadmi Party decision, which is not really a decision of the majority of the House.
I want to intervene with where the majority will be decided. According to the Bombay Commission, according to the Bombay verdict in the Supreme Court,
so that's why
the majority can only be decided. No, majority can only be decided on
because
the floor
the
of the
House is not in session.
But okay, as long as this government has won the confidence motion, till then it has a majority.
Okay, Pinky Anand, now coming into this, another person who knows a lot about the law, and also Pinky, the question of whether suspended animation is the right thing, President's rule is the right thing. Does the BJP have any intention at all of trying to form the government right now?
I think we are still seeing what is happening. We've just come to a situation where the LG is putting across a point of having President's rule and of suspended animation. So until there is a complete official statement and BJP does consider the issue, I don't think we are in a position to immediately give a response. I think we need to see what we are doing.
Okay, fine. Aarti, you want to come in on this, and then I want to return to the basic question that I started off with on the who's going to benefit from all of this.
Yeah, no, I just want to make a brief point, Vikram. You know, I don't know about legality and constitutionality, but I think politically and for the health of democracy, I think it's only fair that the Lieutenant Governor dissolve the assembly and we have another election. Because before this Arvind Kejriwal formed his government, you know, the Lieutenant Governor had explored the option with the BJP. The BJP at that time said no. Why should the BJP change its mind 49 days later? So I think it would be just healthy and the right thing to do for democracy to have another election as soon as possible.
Okay, Vikash wants to come in on this.
Yeah, only one, as far as a healthy democracy is concerned, what guarantee do we have that in the next election also, supposing Aam Aadmi Party comes with 32, BJP comes with 28 and Congress with something like 7. So it's not as if the health of the democracy is going to determine by a fresh election. The fresh election can, our constitutional setup is such that this kind of a verdict can come again and again and again. How many times you go for an election?
Give you a guarantee what the election results
will be? You have to respect the mandate of the people. And the mandate is that there is a fractured verdict.
Okay, you have to follow what's constitutionally correct, and yes, you're right, there are no guarantees. Kiran Walia, let me just get you in from the Congress party on this. Given how many seats the Congress party got in this particular election which has just gone by, you're only likely to improve your tally, but you're certainly not likely to be getting anywhere close to the numbers that you would be needing. What is the Congress party's take? Is President's rule the best thing to do right now, seeing as you're not likely to be forming a government anyway?
No, one is not pondering at this. I'm not looking at political gains or losses from what has happened. But what has happened has surely been a big tragedy for Delhi. What has happened is it's kind of a way Delhi has been taken for a ride. What has happened is that there has been a difference between posturing and reality, truth from lie. All that is what we are seized of at the moment, and we need to get out of this, and definitely needs to be explained to people that this is what was postured, this is what is the reality, because one has seen through it. It's a very enigmatic personality, this Chief Minister, which some people think that, they are learning, but learning at the cost of whom? What is most important is that democracy has been ridiculed, constitutional practices have been ridiculed, everything that, one promised, one is falling back on. And was it really a promise just to win elections? That is a huge issue, and And the last stroke, and that was that people who voted for me, we are going to give them relief as far as 50% cut in the bills is concerned. Now this is it not corruption? It's really not, it's just not even debatable. How do you define corruption? Misuse of public office for private ends. So why are these questions not being raised by media and others? I'm sure that you'd be doing, but we need to explain to people. And on that would depend what people would decide who is true, who is wrong.
No. Okay, can I? So, Commentator Chinoy,
there has been a posturing.
Fair enough. Let me therefore come back. Let me just come back from the President's rule point to the substantive issue. Who benefits, who gains, who loses from this? Commentator Chinoy, at the end of the day.
Before that.
Yeah, quickly, Pinky, you want to say something?
Yes, what I'm saying is the question of what the Lieutenant Governor should do at this point is, once there has been this current position of the Aam Aadmi Party backing off and resigning and asking for a dissolution of the Assembly, it is the constitutional duty of the Lieutenant Governor to ask the majority party whether it wants to form a government. What happened with BJP earlier is not necessarily res judicata for the Lieutenant Governor to ask the BJP at this point whether it wants to form a government and if it is successful in proving and if it wants to do so.
Vikram, I want to inform. I want to inform Pinky that Harshvardhan has already declared that BJP will not form the government.
Okay, he has declared that right now.
No, fair enough. What I'm saying is, what we are talking about is the Lieutenant Governor's
has to do the right thing, and then the Harshvardhan can decline it again.
Yes, neither lawyer, let alone a constitutional lawyer, and I think, you know, and I'm just as concerned with the health of democracy as everybody else on the panel seems to be, and the democracy is quite healthy. Thank you. Now, the way to look at this is classic politics. So let's not be moralistic about it or what the constitutional fine detail is. This is classic politics. And if you will, one interpretation.
Classic politics and classic constitutionality cannot be antithetical to each other.
Yeah. So one
you can't override the constitution because you have a certain perception of what politics should be.
Okay, Vicky, let finish.
One consistent explanation for what the Aam Aadmi Party has done throughout, and I'm not saying that this is the only explanation, but it's very consistent, that from the day they came into power, December 28th or so, they had one objective: to advertise themselves across the country in order to be able to fight the Lok Sabha elections with free publicity, which the media obviously willingly provides, like it is doing tonight. And I think that's a very consistent explanation. What I want to ask, and since this was precipitated by the Jan Lokpal Bill, what I want to ask Ashutosh, Chinoy, whoever, just tell me, as an Aam Aadmi, how would life for me be different tomorrow if the Jan Lokpal Bill had paused? After all, what Kejriwal did and the Aam Aadmi Party, this is so important. This is so fundamentally important to the Aam Aadmi Party that I will resign, which of course they have done. Okay? Now, can they please explain to me what will happen? What will happen tomorrow of all the things that are troubling us, that are troubling Delhi, that are troubling this administration? Please tell me what will improve tomorrow of such magnitude that it is that we have to kowtow to the Aam Aadmi Party's tactics of getting publicity.
Unfortunately, Vikram, what is happening that the politics without principle has become so common in the vogue in the country that when you're talking about the principle, people are just aghast to know, because that is not
fair enough. You know, let's come to specifics.
That was my point. That was my point.
Let's come to specifics.
It's politics. When I say politics,
the things that bother me on a daily basis as an Aam Aadmi, the policeman who's asking me for a bribe, something which is happening, you know, if I'm going and trying to get anything from the government, getting anything done from the government from top to bottom is impossible for the common man. Electricity bills, price tags, all the things that are concerning people, which you could have solved. You could have given a real effort to solving it and said, where we are government with a difference, and here we are, we spent 2-3 months really trying to fix these problems. You gave that up. right now?
No.
Just answer the question, Ashutosh. How would life for me be different with a Jan Lokpal?
Sir, I'm just answer
the question.
Let him answer that, then I'll answer the second part. Answer the Jan Lokpal part specifically.
Don't evade the question. Just answer that limited question.
This country has seen the very, very big ticket corruptions. Unless you control and contain the
how
big
will it
ticket
change
corruption.
Tomorrow?
No, unless you give a very strong messages that the cabinet ministers and the chief ministers, if they are indulging into the corruption, they can be behind the bar.
Okay,
Unfortunately,
just tell me tomorrow if it's passed.
Sir, let me answer my question. Let me answer the question. Unless you put these big fishes, big sharks behind
you can't do today?
No.
Somebody
you can do it.
Where?
You have to do it.
Then why are you doing the Jan Lokpal Bill? Sir, why are you manufacturing the Jan Lokpal Bill?
Nobody is manufacturing.
Yes, you are.
Jan Lokpal Bill is a fundamental to our politics.
For the last answer my question.
Mr. Surjit, I'm just answering a question. Unfortunately, this country is so used to by the politician to living politics
don't
without
be a great defender of the country. We are all defenders of the country.
No. We are so used to having politics without principles that it affects
I've
us.
heard principles
let me tell you,
for the last 65 years.
Let me tell you, Mr. Surjit Bhalla, that if Lal Bahadur Shastri had been alive today, he would have the people have blamed him. He ran away because Lal Bahadur Shastri resigned after.
He hasn't answered my question.
I have answered my question. No, if you don't want to listen to my answers, I can't help it. Lal Bahadur Shastri resigned after.
I didn't ask about Lal Bahadur Shastri.
I'm just saying. The politics without
Pinky, 1 sec. There's enough chaos already. Let Ashutosh answer the question.
Anybody is practicing politics with principles and the morality, people don't want to listen to this. That's a
I want to listen for principles. I want to listen to morality. You are not practicing it.
Of course you are practicing. How do you know?
Because you asked my view. I'm telling you my view.
I'm telling you also.
Fine.
Kamal Mitra Chinoy.
Let the people decide.
People have already decided.
Specifically, the things that Mr. Kejriwal, let's assume he has the best of intentions of trying to really do something about corruption. Let's assume that. There was a lot he could have actually done. So I come back to the question I began with. Will there or will there not be a perception that he ran away instead of really trying to fix the problem? And then you end up with the criticism that Surjit was making, that as a result of that, this was really about a marketing and an advertising campaign for 49 days, a lot of publicity for the Aam Aadmi Party, but the hard work that needed to be done, the grafting, the singles, the dot balls, if you like, of really fixing corruption, that was just too difficult.
I think there is a misperception. If the Jan Lokpal Bill was not problematic for the opposition, they would not have used procedural grounds to oppose it. They could have argued that there are problems in the substantive part.
Yeah, Pinky, I'm coming to you in a second. Pinky, I'm coming to you in a second.
So
let Kamal finish his point. I'm just coming to you.
So it was very important from Kejriwal from the outset, before he became chief minister, he said he would fight corruption. To fight corruption, you need mechanisms. And the Jan Lokpal Bill was one, not the only, but a major one. And the next bill to come was going to be the Swaraj Bill. Now, he got caught in the politics outside the assembly the moment he filed that FIR along with others against Mukesh Ambani. So then very big fish and sharks came after Aam Aadmi. Okay. And then what happened is the consequence of this politics.
Can I ask you how? Because I'm going to ask both Pinky, and Kiran Walia this. Hang on. Pinky, what he says is that it was really an effort by both the BJP and the Congress essentially to shield Mukesh Ambani and therefore to block the Jan Lokpal Bill. Were you objecting to it on procedural grounds? Were you objecting to it on constitutional grounds? Would you have backed it if it had been done the right way? Let me ask you that directly. Would you have backed the Jan Lokpal Bill once the LG had given its consent?
First of all, we had said that we were open to consideration of passing that. The question of linking it by Mr. Kejriwal and the Aam Aadmi Party with the proceedings against Mr. Ambani, I think are so disjointed. The whole action of the Aam Aadmi Party in the last 49 days has been leading up to a fact that the Jan Lokpal Bill would not get passed and Mr. Kejriwal would walk out, leaving the Delhi citizens to face complete disaster and then to go in for the Lok Sabha. Already rallies have been announced on various days for the national issues on 23rd February and so on and so forth. Everybody is seen through the game. I don't think Aam Aadmi's position has become any...
Absolutely classic conspiracy theory.
Issue is even before even before the trust vote, you come into reducing so-called of the electricity bill, which doesn't effectively reduce. You come to reducing of so-called water bills, again, which is no reduction, which is ultimately an increase.
But you have never done.
The electricity crisis a few days
Can I
back.
just come
Kiran Walia, let me get you.
Vikram,
I think how can
Vikram, can
Aarti,
I
one
also
sec,
come
Kiran
in?
Walia, just respond to the point. Were you objecting?
Yes,
Where were you on the Jan
yes,
Lokpal Bill?
we were committed. Excuse me. Please don't think that everybody is, just because of Ambani. The whole story has been twisted around one man. If he was sincere about the bill, we have tried to pass many things. Mr. Sridharan has said that the way Mrs. Dixit went around to the central government, land is not with us, to DDA, to the UD department, to the various departments in the central government, that land has to be given to the railway ministry. Mr. Kejriwal knew very well that Delhi is not a full-fledged state. That's why he has one of his major points in his manifesto to get full statehood of Delhi, because he knew this is how he could run Delhi. And excuse me, now to say that I don't care, and is nobody, even the speaker is not even willing to disclose that there is a letter from the Lieutenant Governor. Is this the way our parliament and assemblies would function? I raise a pertinent point. In Andhra Pradesh, the assembly knew that they could not really dispose of the whole issue without coming to the parliament. And that's despite so much passion for it, thinking of suicides. They are waiting for what the parliament would decide. Whatever has happened is another issue. But the fact remains that you have to work within the four walls of the constitution. The communist parties who believe in a theory of class war, who believe that there has to be something outside the system of state, also had to function within a parliamentary system. So how can Mr. Kejriwal be above law and say that I don't care about this? I think that this, so if, now,
Kiran Walia, please answer my question.
Really,
why were you supporting the government?
Yes, talk about constitutionality,
because he had to bring it.
So many
Kiran Walia, please answer my question. Why were you supporting the government? If the government was working so unconstitutionally, not working in the four walls of the law,
only when the situation arose, only when the situation arose, we voted him out.
Aarti, one sec. Aarti, I'm just coming to you. Kiran, finish what you're saying, then I want to go to Aarti.
Opportunity, he should have done it lawfully, yes.
Okay. Aarti, no matter, Aarti, let me come to this point. Aarti, hang on. Let me just come to this point now.
Over the constitution.
One sec. Can I just try and frame the next part of what I want to get everyone's reactions on? So, as Kiran Walia says, and this is what Kamal Mitra Chennai was also saying, this was blocked on procedural grounds. But at the end of the day, is procedure important? Is what the constitution lays down important or not? Or if there's something which we think we want to do, is it okay to try and push it through nevertheless? Aarti.
Yeah.
No, Vikram, it all depends on the motive behind the reason you're raising the procedure. And I'm sorry, all this, sort of, thing about constitutionality, when the Babri Masjid was knocked down, did anybody bother about constitutionality? Governments have presided over massacres of hundreds of innocent.
Hang on, so are you justifying that?
Did anybody bother about
That?
constitutionality? We've seen corruption scandals of thousands of crores. Did anybody bother about constitutionality?
But that's precisely the point. Hang on.
Bill, and suddenly constitution becomes a holy cow.
But one second, surely you're not equating what an elected government of an Indian state should do with what the mobs that demolished the Babri Masjid did, or somebody running riot. Obviously, those people were violating the constitution, they were violating the law, they were violating everything.
There was a commitment given by the UP government at that time, led by the BJP, to the Supreme Court, that they would protect the Babri Masjid. What did they do?
Let me just come back.
No, I'm just pointing out that I'm just trying to point out the hypocrisy of all political parties who keep raising the constitution when it suits them, and they're ready to just forget the constitution when it suits them.
All right.